Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. Can you guys hear me? Good. Welcome to the very first episode of yours truly. It is I, your host, Druelee, of course. Just a little background about this podcast. As you continue to listen on, I will be sharing my raw, real truth of what life is like after leaving a 10-year relationship into now becoming a single gal once again. Each episode has a different topic in which I would tell my side of the story of how my life was as a woman, a girlfriend, a wife, and a divorcee, to embarking the self-love journey. These topics are very taboo, where some people tend to ignore or shy away from discussing, and to tune in, as this podcast is not for the weak soul. So, if you are a strong soul and love listening to anything taboo such as sex, family dysfunctions, relationship, or anything that is uncomfortable to talk about, this is the podcast for you. I'll share my very own experiences in hopes that for those who are going through the same experiences will have an insight of how to survive this thing we call life. And just a little disclaimer, I am not a licensed therapist, psychologist, counselor, or any medical degree person that can diagnose anyone or anything pertaining to topics that will be discussed in this podcast. I am just a normal human being who have lived life and knowing what it's like to go through real life experiences and my curiosity of wanting to know life outside of the norm. Any tips or messages is based off of my own experiences and my own research. This podcast is intended for anyone who is 18 years and older, as it will contain explicit language, words, and taboo topics that is not normalized to be discussed. Please listen per your description. Now that we got that out of the way, I just want to say hi and welcome to my podcast. This is very different from what I usually do. If I stutter or if I say too much or if you can hear me swallow my spit, do not mind me. I'm getting used to it, okay? I just hope that you guys enjoy what I have to say about certain things. So let's just move on and let's begin with how I started this journey into creating this podcast. So the year of 2020, that was 2 years ago, okay? 2 years ago, I know everybody thought that 2020 was the year where we all are going to lose weight. We're going to have our hot girl or hot boy summer. We're going to party hard. We're going to go to lavish vacation, whether it's in-state or out-state. We're going to do so much. New year, new me, right? However, 2020 wasn't that year for us. It was the opposite. A lot of things happened. As we all know, we were in a pandemic due to COVID-19. The world, everywhere, the worldwide, we all had the virus going on. And many of us had an effect on it. A lot of the people that we love and care for has died from it. And condolence to anyone who has family members who have passed due to this virus. Another thing that has happened that I've heard a lot from when 2020 happened was people getting through a breakup or breaking up with their significant other. I was one of those people that went through a breakup. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that went through that in the year 2020. My type of breakup wasn't it wasn't one of those ordinary breakup. I went through a divorce. And I, like we all thought that 2020 was a year where we all gonna accomplish a whole lot of things, a lot of good things that were gonna happen, but it just didn't happen. And for me, it didn't happen as well. Like I mentioned, I thought that I was gonna start a family, have a baby, fix my house that I just bought, and thought that, my life will turn around into something good, but it didn't. And so that's the reason why I wanted to start this podcast, is because, when you go through things like this, you don't have anyone to talk to about these things. I didn't have anybody to talk to about these things. I couldn't even go to my parents because they didn't teach me anything about anything when it comes to relationship. I have older brother and sisters, but two of them aren't married. One is married, but I hardly see her. And so it was really hard to, go through this by myself, not having anyone there that who went through the same problems or the same event that you went through. And so I hope that me using my real life experiences to talk about these topics, because I know, like, when it comes to talking about divorce, especially within my culture, I am Hmong, and so in our culture we don't talk about divorces. There's a lot of things that we don't talk about, and I just want to be one of those few people that do talk about it, because it's very important. Because we don't talk about these things, how are we going to move as a culture or as a human being to become someone better for ourselves? And so I just hope that, by me sharing my experiences, me being raw, me being real, because I'm all about honesty, I'm all about being real. I just hope that, me doing all of that will help those who are going through the same thing, or those who feel like they need somebody there to listen, or to, tell you that, yeah, this is what I'm feeling. I'm not hallucinating, or I'm not just going crazy over this, because I thought that I was going crazy on other things that was happening in my relationship. By me, like I mentioned, me just talking about it, me putting my own personal life out there and share it to you guys, so that you guys know that you guys are not alone, okay? And I know people are going to hate me. There's going to be a lot of haters here, and I'm okay with it. The more haters, the better, just because they are your number one cheerleader, okay? With me sharing my experiences, I will be mentioning real life people. I'm not going to bash their name or expose their name. That's not what my podcast is all about. Okay, my podcast is to bring awareness. It's not to bash anybody, not to bring anybody down, but I'm letting you know straightforward that the things that people did to me are real stuff, are real life stuff, and it's things that is not okay. And with that, people didn't tell me about these things. Like, I have to learn about all of these toxic, negative things that people did to me after I got divorced, because you could say that I didn't, it's not that I wasn't aware of it. It's more of I was in denial on certain things, and also I didn't know better. So once you listen to my podcast, if you want to, and if you follow me, I will basically include, or I will basically, not expose, but it's more like any topics that I will be discussing, I will use my real life experience to basically share it with you guys, okay? There are some topics that I can fully talk about and share with you guys. Some of those topics will be, of course, self-love. How do you learn to love yourself, or live in the single life after leaving your spouse, or after leaving a marriage, or let's say like a relationship in total. Okay, I can talk about life after divorce. I have no kids, so I won't be able to know too much about life after divorce with kids because I don't have kids. Okay, and so that might be a little bit different for those who have kids. But if you are one of those people that have divorced and have no kids, then I would definitely cover that for you guys. I will also be talking about toxic parents, toxic in-laws, of course, yes, toxic in-laws, miscarriages. I have experience with miscarriages, and I know that a lot of people, especially within my Hmong culture, they don't talk about miscarriages. Not just within my culture, but everywhere. Like we don't talk about miscarriages, and so that's something that I want to share and talk about. I also want to talk about my experiences going to college. I also want to talk about being a Hmong person. I have a different, let's just say I'll talk more about, what life was like being a Hmong woman, basically, and what my views are on the Hmong culture. I will also be talking about, being Hmong and being a Christian, a Hmong Christian, or a person who goes to church. I have my own set of thinking when it comes to, going to church. And a lot of people are not going to like what I have to say, but you guys will have to stay tuned for that. I will also be talking about the narcissist because nowadays, especially on TikTok, a lot of people are talking about narcissists and empaths and all of those, psychologists, therapists terms. And like I mentioned, I'm not one of those licensed therapists or psychologists, but because it's so well known out there, there's actually a label for those people who are narcissists, who are empaths. And so I will also dive deep about that as well. I will also be talking about emotional incest. And now you're saying, what the fuck is that? Emotional incest. Yeah, it sounds kind of gross, but don't worry. I will cover that, okay? I will also be covering emotional unavailable as well. And also any types of abuse. So, we hear a lot about, when it comes to physical abuse, you're supposed to leave the relationship because that's wrong. However, a lot of people don't talk about the other abuse, the verbal abuse, the emotional abuse, the spiritual abuse, and not just only physical. All of those abuses, they do matter too when it comes to being in a relationship. So I will also talk about those as well. So those are just a few topics that I will talk about. This a whole lot more. However, if there's any topics that you guys want me to talk about, let me know. You can always write to me on my email, Druelee, @gmail.com for any topics, or you can also go to my Instagram or my Facebook page to drop any comments on what type of topics you guys would like for me to talk about. Okay. With that, within my podcast, I also want to put in letters that my viewers, or I don't know what I will call you guys, followers, listeners, I don't know, fans, I don't know, but whoever you are, if you're following me and you want to write to me, please do. In the subject line, please put down the title, Dear SISTAH. That's DEAR space SISTAH. Okay, Dear SISTAH. And the purpose of Dear SISTAH is pretty much, if you want to write to me about any issues that you have, let's say life issues, relationship issues, or just anything that you need me to, help you with, I'll do my best to help you. I just want you to write to me if you have something that's on your mind that you need a second opinion, or you need help with something. I'll do my best to help you. And like I mentioned, I'm not an expert, but I do feel like I've lived life long enough to know the ins and out of relationship, basic life, school, anything like that. I can do as much as I can to help you. And I'm pretty sure some of the people that do follow or listen to me can help you with that as well too. So go ahead and just shoot me an email, and make sure to subject line Dear SISTAH. That way I could either read that off and read that to my podcast, or I can post that on my Facebook page where people can see, can read, and they can also help you out as well too. And of course, you will be anonymous. I'm not going to reveal who you are. The purpose of this is just to help you and just to help those out there, because maybe there are people out there that have the same issues as you, and you're not the only one. And so by you writing to me, it will help not only me, but others as well too. And also alongside with that, please submit and write down or write to me any poems that you have. I know that with me going through this self-love journey, I've been reading a lot of poems, and it has helped me to, love myself and to be content in this single life. And, for me to have hope that I can find love again, because I know that like once you break up or once you get divorced, it's really hard to get back on to the dating world. And so y'all, I've been there. Okay, it's not the dating world is not all that, but I do have hopes that I will one day find that person. And so by me reading poems or just reading books in general, it has helped me to open my eyes and to accept things the way it is and be content. And so if you are a person who likes to write poems, it could be love poems, it could be sad poems, emo poems, just anything that is very positive, just for you or for anyone, please do share that for me. Share that and send me an email with the subject line poems. That way, if I see that you've written a poem to me, then I will definitely share that in my podcast. If you want to be anonymous, that's fine. Let me know. And if you want me to include your name, I will definitely do that as well too. Okay. And so, like I said, if there's any topics that you want me to discuss about, let me know. Write it down through my email at yourstruelee@gmail.com, or you can Facebook message me, or Instagram me, whichever is fine. If there's are topics that I can't cover, I would let you know, okay? Because again, I don't know everything. I just know what I know, but if I am able to talk about it, then I will talk about it, okay? And so that's pretty much what I have for this first podcast. Again, this is just an introduction of what I would love to have on my podcast. And so again, thank you so much for tuning in and for supporting me and for sharing what I have giving you guys. I hope that by me starting this will help those who went through the same experiences as I did, and know that you will be okay. A lot of people will say that things will happen to you, and eventually, if you are patient about it, things will go your way. And so it's a cliche, but at the same time, do your own self-healing, figure things on your own. And at the end of the day, just love yourself enough. Love everything that you have now. Don't take things for granted, and always live a positive life, okay? Sometimes when you go through breakups, it could either make you or break you, as a person, not within the relationship, but as a person. Okay. And so I just hope that, with this introduction, it will give you guys an insight that, even though I've been through this negative road, that, trust me, I got out of it, and I'm still learning, I'm still healing, I'm still doing what I can as an individual to live a positive, refreshing life. Okay. And so with that being said, I will end this podcast with a poem. Now, I couldn't find anything that that was like around my house. I don't have a poem book. I kind of wish I did, but I just Googled this poem, and it kind of struck me, and I resonated towards it, and so I just Googled it, and I just read a couple of the poems, and I just picked this one out, and so this is the first one here on my first episode. So this poem is called "Nothing Stays the Same," and was written by Carol A. Andrews, and it says, "The earth spins like a rolling ball. Stars shines bright, then fades away. Darkness melts and turns to light. The sunrise starts another day. The sun dips slowly into the sea. The moon will wax and wane. The sea will raise and fall with tides, and you will love again. Nothing ever stops. Nothing ever stays the same. Mountains change with time. Rivers flow and lakes run dry. Salty tears will flood the eye. Healing follows after pain. A crush of grape becomes fine wine. And you will love again. Yes, you will love again." And again, thank you so much for listening to the very first episode of yours truly. I hope that you have a wonderful day, weekend, weekdays, whatever you are listening to this. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.